Mearabloggers, this is Paul Meara. I'm back with a double dose this week. I got another MC on my podcast. I've been doing the OGs recently, and this week I got my man Mike Jaggerr. What's up, Mike?
What's good, man? What's good? How you feeling?
Good. Your story is one of greatness, and I'm glad to hear from a New York rapper too. But anyway, my first question is, what's been good with Mike Jaggerr? Not necessarily in the music perspective, but just what's been going on?
Well, just been working these records. We're shooting a lot more visuals. We have the video for Away that should be coming soon. It's going to be debuting on MTV, all the MTV networks. That's 2U and something else. I can't remember right now. But yeah, so that's coming. I'm in the source for Unsigned Hype this month, so definitely peep that joint out. What else? I got Generation Next, Peter Rosenberg. He's on Hot 97 now.
Right.
This show called he has a show called Generation Next. So I'm doing that this Saturday. It's me, Pill for Maybach Music, and a lot of other artists on that joint. So, definitely gonna kill that. I just had a show in Ohio over the weekend, actually. Me and Twisted did a show at Ohio Wesleyan, so
Yeah, I'm from Columbus, so that's and I know Tone is too, so that's who I've been talking with. And so anyway, Ohio Wesleyan, that's close to home for me. But you just
man, for sure. That's the home of the Red Bones out there.
yeah. Now you knocked out like 5 questions I was gonna ask you, but anyway,
my fault.
One of the questions that you were in the source for Unsigned Hype, and and for people who don't know what that is, that's a big deal in the hip hop industry. Some of the greats of hip hop have that garnish that honor. We're talking Biggie, Eminem, Mobb Deep, 50 Cent, DMX. I think those are some good names, right? I think I've heard a couple of them before. But anyway, what does it mean to be part of that tradition, knowing that you've been part of those names?
Man, being a part of that legacy is real important for me. Just because growing up and watching it, I don't think a lot of people realize, like you said, how big it is, especially younger cats, because at a certain point, like the source was going through a restructuring, so there was a generation gap that happened of source where people didn't realize exactly how big that was. But when Big and M and all them were coming up, and when I was young, I was watching them talk about on Juicy, Big's talking about my mom smiles every time I'm up in the source, and people will always drop lines about having 5 mics and all that, you know what I'm saying? So for me, growing up during that era, that was like one of those milestones that I felt like you had to hit. So for me to hit that, and earn it totally based off the music, not like, getting a favor or anything, like I was very, appreciative and honored.
Right. Back in the 90s, I mean, the source was your Bible for hip-hop, everything, clothing, fashion, definitely music. And so, yes, it's good to see that, that they still have Unsigned Hype, and that, it's definitely an honor worth, no matter what kind of restructuring they went through. Now, let's talk about the 11th Hour Mixtape. You dropped it a little while back, and now...
1/11/11.
Right. Now you kind of it was kind of like an emotional appeal first to tell your more emotional side, and I know the story with your father and your childhood. What was that all about, the whole project?
Well, the 11th Hour, that just represents, especially while I was making it, and where I felt like I was at that point, like something has to happen, like this is my plan A, B, and C, like there is no other thing that I want to do or really have a choice to do. Like, I've invested so much, I have people around me that have invested so much, to the point where they've put their living and the well-beings on the line to help me accomplish this dream and their dream that they have for me, So, like, this has to work. That introduction with the project had to hit a certain peak, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And very much so, I feel like we're hitting it, it introduced me to the right people, you know what I'm saying? And we're just building. We're going to keep building on what we've accomplished and all the attention that we've garnered, and we've garnered attention from the right people.
Right, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? That was the most important thing for me, so.
Child protectors knocking, rooftop leaking. We're trying to find a place where we can sleep for the weekend. Alcoholic issues, no tears for the tissues. Nobody respect the man if he ain't strong, that's why I miss you. One room efficiency, nightmarish memories, Vietnam horror stories haunting you deep in your sleep. Pain drowned in vodka.
Yeah, and with your story, you're from Delaware, you live in Brooklyn now, I understand, and so and everything, you had a rough childhood. Can you maybe touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. Well, on quite a few records, one being the Away, that seems to be the one that most people know and gravitate towards.
Right.
I touched on growing up when I was younger. I lived with my father, and we lived in a house with no electricity, no running water, none of those common household necessities that people are used to. So, and my father, he was a real stubborn individual, so he didn't really ask for help from people. So, I touch on that a lot in the songs. I touch on my relationship with my mother and things that, I was watching growing up and going through, and, like on Away specifically, when I talk about my father, I talk about the thoughts of being at the funeral and seeing all these people show up, but I saw none of these people going through hardship, what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I touch a lot on that, and that helped mold the person and the demeanor that I have as far as my approach to life and just the way I approach things, musically. It gave me a certain determination and a set of goals that I wanted to accomplish.
Right. Now, you were at Ohio Wesleyan over the weekend, and could you and is this college scene something going to be common with you, or are you going to do more on tour?
Yeah, most definitely. I want to expose to everybody.
Right.
So as many people as possible. I don't care if they're in college or high school, graduates, executives. I don't care who they are. As long as they become fans and they appreciate the work, that's all I care about.
Right. Now you live in Brooklyn now. Obviously, New York is the mecca of hip hop music, and it has been since its creation. And how important is it to you to it sort of seems like the last couple of years New York's kind of fell off the map, and maybe not fell off, but other sort of regions are starting to bring up the hip hop game. How important is it to you to represent New York, even though you're from Delaware, and just what does it mean to put like New York behind your name? Does that mean anything to you?
More so like you said, opening up to other regions. I feel that it's like important for the progression of music. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause I think for a point, I think the growth stagnated, and a lot of people. I hate it when people say, I'm bringing this back or I'm bringing that back. Like, you can't take it back. You have to take it forward. And that's been my main goal as far as how I incorporate melody into my music or whatever. Like, I want to progress more. Like, I want things to be more musical. Like, I've been going through a point where I stopped sampling. You know what I'm saying? Just because it's like I wanted to make things that people would want to sample in the future.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's some of the processes that I forgot to mention earlier that I produce and write on my stuff. So you know what I'm saying, just to have that note in there. But like when I'm making music, I'm thinking about like what are future generations gonna think about my generation? Like, are they gonna skip over us? You know what I'm saying? Like, they didn't make anything worth even revisiting again. So I think about moving forward. And of course, like, I'm an East Coast kid, so like, that's real important to me, representing my coast, but more so in my delivery and in my execution of, my legacy. I want to represent people around the world that are going through, trial and tribulations, and just being a voice for them, because it's people that are going through work conditions in Africa and Libya and all over the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, we all talk about coming from the hood, but we still had it good compared to a lot of other people around the world.
Right,
There's
absolutely.
A lot of voices that haven't been heard. So
now, instead of jumping straight into the hip hop scene, you decided to start and finish college. Can you tell me about that a little bit?
Yeah, man. Well, like it was out of necessity more so. Like I started producing for myself because I couldn't get beats from people that were around me that were what I wanted, at the time. Like, I wanted a specific sound, and you know, nobody would give them to me or anybody else that was in the group that I was in. I was in this group called Baseline when I was younger, which was like the foundation for the Mike Jaggerr that you see now. Like, that's where I learned how to write songs. That's where I learned how to produce. And you know, at the time, it was this girl named Aisha in the group who I'm still good friends with. You'll be seeing her soon.
Yeah.
And I still work with her. But like at the time, we were all like 14, 15, and she could sing exceptionally well. Like, she could sing like a 25-year-old. So all the producers that came would give us beats for her. You know what I'm saying? So I ended up producing out of necessity, and then you know, I wanted to shoot videos. You know, I wanted to make videos for myself, and like, I didn't really know anybody that made videos, so I decided to go to film school.
Right.
You know, so I went to college for that, just to learn how and what goes into the process of making movies and music videos and stuff like that. And it, you know, it sparked a new passion, because making music, I would see things all the time, but I wouldn't know how to articulate them. You know.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Right, absolutely. I just want to, tell everyone about that. Now, you're part of a new generation of hip-hop, and, you know, I know artists typically from, like, the 1990s have their inspirational artists from the 80s, generation before them. Now, I'm curious, just what are some of the artists that you maybe took inspiration from, or something? Like, who's given you the most inspiration? I noticed that, like, in some of your songs, you kind of have, like, some of the typical things like Outkast usually has. You know, who's been like inspirational to you?
Just in hip hop, or just in music?
Well, hip hop mostly.
Well, definitely one of what you said, Outkast. Just, you know, Andre 3000 was always about progressing.
Right.
So, you know, I look at the people that always wanted to, you know, push forward musically. So obviously you have Kanye, you have, you know, Outkast, you have who else? I mean, you got Dilla, you know, this to Dilla. You know, I looked at a lot of producers a lot of times just because they were, you know, and especially in the 90s, it was a producer-driven industry.
Right.
So, you know, I would look to the producers for, like, inspiration, and then, like, certain artists lyrically, you know, obviously you got the Bigs and Jays. It's just like a gumbo of different people that I usually look up to, but, you know, especially producers.
Right, absolutely.
I don't have, like, one in particular. I know that's kind of vague a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't have one in particular because I listen to so many, but, yeah.
I got you. Anyway, Mike, appreciate you coming on my podcast. Cop that 11th Hour Mixtape. You can get it at MikeJaggerr.com for free.
Yes.
Mike Jaggerr, my guest. Glad to have you on today, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And, yo, just in case people can't spell it, it's 2 G's and 2 R's. So, MikeJaggerr.
Yeah, and make sure to look out for MTV, MTV2, MTV Everything for the Away music video premiere.
For sure, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, man.